RuneScape has a lot of content. With that, some content gets left in the dark. Today, I'll be going through parts of the game that little to no players use, with some you probably haven't even heard of before. At a workbench inside of your player-owned house, you can create flat packs of construction items. These were introduced with the intention to make decorating your house a lot easier without having to buy all of the required items. There are flat packs for almost every construction object. However, the concept of them was pretty much set aside by Jagex, with all of the newer construction items having no flat pack version. They're made with a very old interface where you have to select your category, then you're redirected to the normal construction window. You get the same construction XP as you normally would for making that object, but instead of usually destroying it after, you end up with the flat pack. The XP rates of making flat packs are a lot slower than training construction normally, and little to no players buy them off the Grand Exchange, which makes them very dead content. Rat Pits is a place where you get a slight glimpse of during the Rat Catcher's quest, but the Rat Pits minigame itself is never used because of the lack of rewards and how pointless it is. There are 4 Rat Pit manholes across RuneScape. There's one in Port Sarim, Varrock, Keldagrim, and Ardi. The minigame functions sort of like the Duel Arena, but instead your cat will be doing the fighting. The cat that kills the most rats before getting to low hit points wins the game. You start off with placing a bet on your cat winning, and then with a cat speak amulet, you can select how you want your cat to fight. The first 2 options are safe options, where your cat will automatically flee and come back to you when it's on low health. With the other 2, your cat will literally fight to the death, which means you'll lose your cat. But to save your cat, you can call your pet in the equipment interface, and it glitches out and still thinks you're in the game, but the cat isn't in the arena anymore. It's overall a pretty buggy and old minigame. Your cat can get stuck in corners and not attack any rats, and the results are very random. Back in June of 2005, the Wise Old Man was added in a game update, stating he's moved into a Draenor village, and members may offer to do a few simple tasks for him for a suitable reward. This task system still exists in old school, but is very much unused. To get a task from him, you ask if there's anything you can do for him. He'll tell you to grab 3 to 15 of a certain item, or he'll ask you to take a scroll to one of 7 NPCs, or investigate what's underneath his bed. The certain item you need to bring him can be one of 53 different items, and I went and bought bulk of them to see how this activity really works. After completing the task, you get a reward, which is either prayer XP from a blessing, or you get coins, gems, runes, herbs, or seeds. The best loot you can get is 100k from 10 Ranars, but that's incredibly rare, and most of the time you'll get worthless seeds and coins. When he asks to investigate the thing under your bed, you see a really interesting scene that little to no players have experienced. Overall, there's really no point in doing this, which makes it dead content. You lose money with the items you have to bring him, and you're left with a very small amount of prayer XP. Dorgesh Khan is quite a large and very well designed city, but is very rarely used. The city has a variety of activities, like stealing from chests, an agility course, and a place to trade your long and curved bones. But 2 activities in particular are used by nobody: fixing lamps and bargaining in the marketplace. With 87 crafting, you can create empty light orbs. If you then use a cave goblin wire on that orb, it gives you a completed light orb, as well as a big chunk of crafting XP. These light orbs are used to repair the broken lamps in the houses upstairs of Dorgesh Khan. As long as you have 52 fire making, you can use the orb on a broken lamp and you get 1000 fire making XP. Finding a broken lamp though can be almost impossible, which makes it a terrible option for fire making training. In the whole upstairs area, there's quite a few houses, and only 1 or 2 lamps are usually broken at a time. The only time that it's an alright training method is if you're doing thieving from the chests upstairs of the houses. Since you hop world a lot while you thieve, you'll pretty often come across broken lamps, but because of the lower XP rates compared to regular thieving, stealing from the chests isn't a popular method in the first place, which makes lamps a piece of dead content that pretty much no players do. In the center bottom floor of the city is a marketplace with stalls that sell a variety of unique foods and frog armor. Between these market stalls are goblins called Gourmets, which had a lot of development and scripting work go into them, but literally no one uses them because they're pretty pointless. To partake in bargaining, you need to speak to a member of the council first to get permission. Once you do, the idea is that you can sell any food item in the game to Gourmets, but their interest in each type of food varies with each one. Sometimes they'll they'll tell you the food looks horrid and pay very little for the food. Sometimes they tell you it smells nice, which greatly increases how much they'll pay for it. For the majority of the food items, they'll pay well under the grand exchange price, but with a few of them, they'll pay well over the grand exchange price, even if they think it's horrid. It could be a good moneymaker, but you can only really sell a few of each food item at a time. After the herb lore segment of Barbarian training with Otto, you can create Barbarian mixes, which are made with standard 2-dose potions mixed with Roe for low-level potions and Caviar for high-level potions. Drinking a Barbarian mix gives the normal effect of the base potion with an added 6 hit points of healing per dose. A long time ago, I made a video called Barbarian Mixes in OSRS, and I explained how in particular prayer mix potions are useful. With a standard 4-dose prayer potion and a shark, you get 4 prayer restorations and 20 hit points restored. If you swap those out for 2 prayer mixes, you get 4 prayer restorations again, but instead you heal 24 hit points. Even though you heal a little bit more, there's many downsides to mixes that still makes them dead content. Located southwest of Canifus is a small dungeon with a werewolf standing outside. After you've done the Creature of Frankenstein quest, you can enter this dungeon, which has 2 parts, the Werewolf Agility course and Werewolf Skull Ball. The Agility course is not dead content. It provides very high Agility XP rates, with slightly faster Agility XP rates than Rooftop Agility. On the other side of the dungeon, Werewolf Skull Ball is a piece of content that's really left in the dark. The idea is you need to kick the skull ball through every goalpost as fast as possible, where you can either tap the ball to move it 1 tile, kick to move it 4, or shoot it to send it 10 squares. If you do it in under 4 minutes, you get 750 Agility XP. Anytime longer than that, you get less experience for every 3 seconds. With a bit of focus, you can do it in around 2.5 minutes, meaning you get around 18k Agility XP per hour. There's really only 2 reasons that people come to do Skull Ball. Sherlock has a 4% chance of telling you to score a goal in Skull Ball. Otherwise, any players here are likely to be completionist players that are going for fast goal times or are enjoying older content. Another minigame that's rarely played is Trouble Brewing. The minigame involves 2 teams that race to create as many bottles of rum as possible. At the end, there's no real winner though. You only get 2 pieces of 8 per bottle you make and 1 piece of 8 per ingredient that you help obtain. Pieces of 8 is currency used to buy a range of cosmetic clothing from the reward shop, as well as the stuff, which increases the chance of maturity when you're brewing ale. Since you get 1 piece of 8 per ingredient that you deposit, an easy way to make the most of that is to deposit buckets of water, since they're the fastest ingredient you get. Doing that, you can get well over 100 pieces of 8 per game, making the entire reward shop easily accessible. There's still a very small group of players that do this minigame for the stuff, which makes brewing ale a very good moneymaker. There's also the medium Mauritania diary task to complete a Trouble Brewing game. All the way to the east in the Tsar city, just past the fight caves, is the Tsar fight pits. The minigame is a simple fight to the death, where usually the highest level player with the best gear will always win. If the battle goes on for too long, eventually Tsar monsters will start coming out until 1 player remains. Winning the minigame gives you a red skull above your head, and you also get a small amount of Tokal as a reward. The fight pits did used to have some popularity in RS2, but with LMS in old school, there's 0 people here unless they're completing the Hard Karumja diary task of completing a game.